So the topic of today is decision theory. Now remember the term decision theory. This indicates a process of selecting the best strategy from various available courses of action. In decision theory, we will be selecting that strategy, that best strategy, which is giving the decision maker maximum profits and minimum costs. Obviously, everyone would like to maximize his profits and minimize the cost. And decision theory also plays an important role in selecting the best strategy, the strategy which is giving the decision maker maximum profits and minimum costs. Now the concept of decision theory is bifurcated into two major topics, that is decision making under risk and decision making under uncertainty. So we will be dealing with practicals on decision making under risk over here and decision making under uncertainty. Remember the difference between the two. Decision making under risk refers to those cases where probabilities are given. So by making use of probability, you will be solving and calculating various models like expected monetary value, which that is technically called as EMV, then EOL, expected opportunity loss, and EVPI. Simultaneously, there are many other concepts like expected cost, expected opportunity cost. So we will be solving all these models one by one. But remember, decision making under risk refers to those cases where probabilities are given. Like in this case, today probabilities are supplied to you. So the topic for today is decision making under risk. In the next lecture, we will be covering decision making under uncertainty. Uncertainty refers to those cases where no probabilities, none of the values of probabilities are given, and thereby you will be making use of many models like Maximin model, Maximax model, Bayes model, Laplace model, Hurwitz model, Minimax, regret criterion, Mini-Min criterion. So there are so many models, these models which are used in decision making under uncertainty. But remember the golden difference between the two. Risk, decision making under risk refers to those cases where probabilities are given, and uncertainty refers to those cases where probabilities are not given. So now we will be dealing with this part of decision theory today, whereby we will be calculating EMV. So our focus will be to calculate the value of expected monetary value, then expected opportunity loss, and expected value with perfect information. So I repeat, EMV, expected monetary value, EOL, expected opportunity loss, and EVPI is expected value with perfect information. So all these terms will be explained to you one by one. What is the difference between risk and uncertainty? Clear to everyone? Okay, we proceed further. Now the concept of decision making under risk as well as decision making under uncertainty, it is based on two major concepts. One is states of nature and another is courses of action. So these two terms will be simultaneously used in each and every practical of decision theory. Remember, courses of action. Courses of action, the other name for courses of action are acts, alternatives, strategies, and the best example of course of action is the amount that you are going to stock. As far as state of nature is concerned, it is most popularly called by the name of events, and the best example of state of nature is demand. Now, what is the difference between these two factors? Remember, states of nature refers to those factors which are outside the control of a decision maker. These are those factors which are incontrollable, which are not in control of a decision maker, while the forces of action refers to those factors which are directly under the control of a decision maker. For example, stock. The amount that a decision maker needs to stock, whether he wants to stock 20 units in his shop or godown, or 40 units or 50 units, that depends on him, that depends on his capital requirements as well as space availability. So the amount that he is stocking is in his control. That is why it is referred as forces of action, and demand is a factor which is not in control, right? One day the demand could be 10 units, another day it could vary, the demand could be 40 units and so on. So the factor like demand, which is not in the control of a decision maker, is referred as states of nature. So in each and every practical of decision theory, we are going to make use of these two terms. They will be used simultaneously hand in hand. So now, in decision theory, please write down the heading of today's topic. We are going to start with decision making under risk. The topic of today's class is decision making under risk. And remember, decision making under risk refers to those factors where probabilities are given. Like in this case, in this particular example that we are taking up, the demand is varying from 10 to 14 units. The probability which has been derived from the past data is also given. The cost of a unit is given as ₹50, while the selling price is ₹70. Can somebody tell me what could be the profit over here? 20 rupees. So the profit over here, it is ₹20. So as soon as an example of decision theory, or you glance over to some illustration, you need to look for the profit existing in this particular concept. So over here the profit is ₹20. Now in case if the product is not sold, then it has to be disposed of at ₹10 per unit. Now you are investing 50 rupees in a particular commodity. If it is not sold, then it has to be disposed at ₹10 per unit. So can somebody tell me what could be the loss over here? 40 rupees. So as soon as you encounter a question of decision theory, you need to calculate the profit and loss, because that is going to help you in calculating EMV, EOL and EVPI. So right on the first heading, we are going to start with the calculation of EMV. The full form is expected monetary value. Now expected monetary value in simple words is indicating expected profit. The term expected monetary value is indicating expected profit. So we are going to calculate expected monetary value over here and write down the first step that you are going to apply. Please take down the first step, that is construction of payoff table. So the first table that we are going to construct over here is payoff table, and the format for this payoff table is, initially you will have states of nature which can be denoted by demand. Then you will have courses of action that can also be referred as stock, is also popularly known by the name of acts or alternatives or strategies. Now demand given in this question is from 10 till 14, right? That is the demand over here. And since courses of action are seldom given, so whenever they are not given, you will have to assume the demand as the courses of action. But before that, you will have a column for probability, that is given over here as 0.15, 0.20, 0.30, 0.25 and 0.10. Now the courses of action, as I have told you, whenever they are not given, you will have to take the states of nature as the courses of action. So this is going to be the format for payoff table. Remember, the first table that we are going to construct is payoff table, and the basic format is, firstly we will have this segment for state of nature, second column is for probability, and finally a major segment for courses of action, popularly referred as stock, also denoted by these terms which are called as X, alternatives or strategies. Now see, firstly payoff. The word payoff, it is the difference between, you can always take it down, payoff is the difference between gross profits and the losses if arising. If there are any losses, you will have to eliminate them. So looking at the first place, please pay attention. Over here, a decision maker has a stock of 10 units, and in the market the demand is absolutely of 10 units. Now if you are having 10 units as a stock, and if the customer is demanding 10 units, what will happen? All the 10 units will be sold off. If 1 unit is giving you a profit of ₹20, what will be the gross profit on 10 units? That will be equal to 200, right? You will have to calculate the profit, and if there is any loss or cost involved, you will have to eliminate it. So over here, the profit will be equal to 200, right? Payoff is defined as the net benefit arising at a particular combination of state of nature and course of action. Next, you are having a stock of 10 units, while the customer is demanding 11 units. So you will have to look for the next combination. Over here, there are 10 units and the customer is demanding 11 units. What will happen? Since you have a stock of 10 units, whatever is the demand, whether it is 11, whether it is 12, 13 or 14, the maximum amount that you can always sell will be equal to 10. Each unit is giving you a profit of ₹20. So if 10 units are sold, they will give you a consolidated profit of 200 in every case, right? Whether the demand is 14 or 15 or let's say 15,000, the maximum amount of stock that you have, at your disposal is 10. You are going to sell 10 units irrespective of the demand. Even if the demand is 14 or 15, the maximum amount of the commodities or the products that you can sell is 10, and in each case the profit will be equal to 20. Next case, look at this particular place. 11 is the stock. We'll have to look for the amount that you are having in your stock, and the demand is 10. Now the stock is 11 and customer is saying that I need to purchase only 10 units. What will happen? From these 11, you can sell 10 only, right? The demand is 10, so you'll have a profit of ₹200. Now from 11, if 10 are sold, you'll have 1 unit, right? If you are left with 1 unit, that will be pure loss, and loss will be equal to 40 rupees. So 200 minus 40, that will be equal to 160, right? Look at the second place, the second one. 11 is the stock and 11 is the demand. Now you have 11 units in your stock and the customer is saying that I need to purchase only 11 units from you. So what will happen? All the 11 units will be sold off. A single unit is giving you a profit of 20. If 11 units are sold, 11 multiplied by 20 will give you a profit of 220. Since no unit is left, there will be no loss, and simultaneously whether the demand is 12, 13 or 14, the profit will be equal to 220 in each case. Now see the next place. Over here, the stock, the amount of stock that you are having is 12. Customer is saying that I need only 10 units. He is demanding 10 units from you. So if you are having a stock of 12 and if the customer is asking for 10 units only, what will happen? 10 units will be sold. 10 units will give you a net profit of 200. Now from 12, if 10 are gone, how many units are remaining? 2. 1 unit is giving you a loss of 40. If you are left with 2 units, the total loss would be equal to 80. So 200 minus 80, the payoff will be equal to 120. Similarly, next case, 12 is the stock and the demand right in front of it is 11. You are having a stock of 12. Customer is asking 11 units. So what will happen? 11 units would be sold over here. 11 units at the rate of 20 will give you a gross profit of 220. Now from 12, if 11 are gone, you are left with 1 unit. That will be the loss. So ultimately the payoff will be equal to 180. Now the next one. If 12 is the stock and 12 is the demand. Now this is probably the best option where the stock is equal to demand. 1 unit is giving you a profit of 20. If 12 are completely sold, the profit will be equal to 240. In all the rest of the cases, irrespective of the greater demand, whether the demand is 13 or 14 or 15, you are going to get the maximum profit right after selling the complete quantity of stock that you are having. Next, number 13. Now 13 is the stock and customer is asking for 10 units only. Now when you have a stock of 13 and the demand is 10, so you are sure that 10 units would be sold. 10 units will give you a profit of 200. Now when 10 are gone, you are left with 3 only. 1 unit is giving you a loss of 40. 3 units will give you a loss of 120. Ultimately, the payoff will be equal to 80. Next place, 13 is the stock and 11 is the demand. Now you have 13 units and the demand is equal to 11. So 11 units will be sold. 11 units at the rate of 20 will give you a profit of 220. Now from the 13 units, if 11 are gone, you are left with 2 units only. Those 2 units will give you a consolidated loss of 80. Ultimately 220 minus 80, the payoff over here will be equal to 140. Next, 13 is the stock and 12 is the demand. Now looking at this scenario where 13 is the stock and the demand is 12. So it is now for sure that after selling 12 units, you will have a profit of 240. From 13, if 12 are gone, you are having a profit of 240. Now from these 13 units, after selling 12, you are left with 1 unit only. That will be the loss. So 240 minus 40 will give you a loss and it will give you a payoff of 200. Next value. 13 is the stock and the demand is also 13. Now that is again one of the best options whereby you are having a stock of 13 and the demand is also equal to 13. So profit per unit was 20. If you are selling 13 units, the profit will be equal to 260. The net payoff would be equal to 260. And finally over here, again that will be equal to 260 because irrespective of the demand is 14 and you have the amount of stock. The stock that you are having is 13. So you will sell 13 units completely and the profit will turn out to be 260. Next place. right? 14 is the stock and the demand is equal to 10. Now the amount that you are having is 14. Customer is demanding only 10 units. So what will happen? 10 units will be sold. Now all these 10 units will give you a profit of 200. Now from 14, if 10 are gone, you are left with 4 units. Now loss on 1 unit was 40, loss on 4 units will be 160. So the payoff will be equal to 40 units. Next, the stock is 14 and the demand is 11. Now when the stock is 14 and the demand is 11, so 11 units will give you a gross profit of 220. Now from 14, if 11 are gone, you are left with 3 units. Now these 3 units will give you a consolidated loss of 120. The payoff 220 minus 120 will be equal to 100. Similarly, the stock is 14 and the customer is asking 12. Now from these 14 units, if 12 are gone, so 12 will give you a profit of 240, and from 14, if 12 are gone, you are left with 2 units only. Loss on 1 was 40, loss on 2 units will be 80. So 240 minus 180, I mean 240 minus 80 will be equal to 160. Right, next place, the stock is 14 and the demand is 13. Now you are having a stock of 14 at your place and the demand is equal to 13. So 13 units will be sold and 13 will give you a profit of 260. Now after selling 13 units, in this case you are left with 1 unit only. That will be your loss. So 260 minus 40, that will be equal to 220. Right, next place, and again this is the best one. 14 is the stock and 14 is the demand. Now you are having a stock of 14 units and customer is demanding 14 units. So now for sure these all 14 units will be sold off and a unit giving a profit of 20. 14 units will give you a total profit of rupees 280. Right, all the 14 units will be sold. You will be left with no unit in this case, and at the rate of rupees 20, 14 units when sold, they will give you a profit of rupees 280. So is this payoff table clear? Yes. Okay. After this table, we are going to construct a new table that will be called as expected payoff table. How are we going to construct it? We need to multiply these values with the probabilities which are right in front of them. So we need to multiply these values with their respective probabilities and we will have to add them up. Adding up all these values will give us the value of expected monetary value, right? So expected monetary value and the maximum EMV would be selected as the best strategy. So kindly take down this table before we start with the next table, that is expected payoff table. So please take down all these values of payoff table. Okay, so taken down this table.
Yes.
Now we are going to construct a new table, that is expected payoff table. Now the format will be exactly same. You will have states of nature, probability and courses of action. Now what do we need to do? We need to multiply these values with their respective probabilities. So start multiplying the values. If you multiply 200 by 0.15, the new value that you will get will be equal to 30. 200 multiplied by 0.20 will give you 40. 200 multiplied by 0.30, that will give you 60. 200 multiplied by 0.25 will be 50. 200 multiplied by 0.10 will give you 20. Right? Next, you will have to total all these values. You have to sum up all these values. If you are adding 30, 40, 60, 50 and 20,
200.
the value will be equal to 200. Similarly, you will have to follow the same process. 160 will be multiplied by 0.15. 220 by 0.2. So multiply 160 by 0.15.
24.
That will give you 24. 220 multiplied by 0.20. That will be equal to 44. 220 multiplied by 0.3. That will be 66. 220 multiplied by 0.25. 220 multiplied by 0.25 will be equal to 55. And 220 multiplied by 0.10 will give you 22. Now add up all these values to find the EMV of the next column. You have to total all these values. So
211.
that will give you 211. Now similarly, 120 multiplied by 0.15, that will give you 18. 180 multiplied by 0.20,
36.
that will give you 36. 240 multiplied by 0.30, that will be 72. Then 240 multiplied by 0.25,
60.
that will be equal to 60. 240 multiplied by 0.10 will be equal to 24. Now adding up all these values, 18 plus 36 plus 72 plus 60 plus 24.
210.
That will give you the total as 210. Next, 80 multiplied by 0.15.
12.
That will be equal to 12. 140 multiplied by 0.20.
28.
That is 28. 200 multiplied by 0.30.
60.
60. 260 multiplied by 0.25.
65.
That will be equal to 65. And 260 multiplied by 0.10. That will be 26.
26.
Now adding up all these values, you will get, what is the total?
191.
191. Now finally the last one, 40 multiplied by 0.15 will give you 6. 100 multiplied by 0.20 will give you
20.
20. 160 multiplied by 0.30. So 160 multiplied by 0.30 will give you 48. 220 multiplied by 0.25.
55.
That is 55, and 280 multiplied by 0.10 will be equal to 28. Now adding all these values, the total will be 157. So these are the respective values of each strategy. Now expected monetary value indicates the expected profits of a particular strategy. Now looking at all these values, you will have to select the maximum value, and the maximum value is 211. This is corresponding to 11th strategy. So So that will be our final answer, since the decision maker is having, the maximum profitability situation at this place. So you are going to suggest him to stop and to select this particular strategy, as the profits in this particular strategy are maximum. So please take down all these values, then take down the inference, the interpretation of what all you have done over here in decision theory under the subtopic decision making under risk. So please take down the conclusion. Since the EMV is maximum, since the EMV, that is expected monetary value, is maximum in 11th strategy, that is 211, comma, therefore the decision maker should select, 11th strategy. Therefore the decision maker should select 11th strategy. So we will be taking more models in the coming classes, like EOL, which stands for expected opportunity loss, EVPI, which stands for expected value with perfect information, one by one. But before that, is this concept of expected monetary value clear to everyone? Right? Because this is very important. This is the base, the first and the foremost and the most important model of decision theory. Right? Expected monetary value.